happen like it used to. Publishing has changed so much since I started. I used to be able to submit and sell on 3 chapters in an outline. I can't do that anymore, especially with new authors. New authors, I have to have the complete manuscript.
Welcome, lucky listeners. Grab yourselves a hot cup of... Tuck yourself down deep into the covers and make sure the lights are on. It's time for Read Me a Nightmare.
Hi, everyone. I'm here today with my agent, Cherry Weiner, and I'm just thrilled to have a chat with her about getting an agent, being an agent, and what's going on in the industry today.
I am very happy to be here, and I hope I can answer your questions succinctly.
You always do. So Cherry is my representative, and we have worked on a novel together called City Lights to Country Nights, and I was amazed by how different the process really is to what you think it might be on the outside. So the first thing I'd like to talk to you about is the timeline. Like, I sort of envisioned you write your book, you get your agent, you put it out there, it gets bought. A few months later, the book is in the world.
Oh, no way. First of all, it takes editors, I don't know how long to actually get to read it. Usually it can be anywhere from 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. I've had a couple of editors take a year, but I end up not waiting that long. I send out more copies. And then it takes about, I don't know, maybe a week back and forth to negotiate the deal. First of all, the editor, if they like it, they have to wait for a committee meeting. They go to committee, they pitch the book. Everyone on the committee have to say, yeah, we want it. Or if one person, two people say no, it's dead in the water. The people there are generally other editors, sales force, lawyers. And they all ask, basically the money people ask, how little can we pay and how much can we make? The lawyers ask, can we be sued? So that's all taken into consideration. And the editors have to really like the book. I've had several immeasurable number of times where an editor has loved my book. The committee has said, no, it's a no-go. But if the editor says yes, then they come to me, we negotiate the deal. It's usually back and forth. If we're lucky, a week. If we're not lucky, I just did one where it took 3 months.
Oh, wow.
Because they had to go to various other people and all kinds of things. Once the contract is verbally okay, we have to wait anywhere from 2 weeks to a month for the contract to be sent to me, to the agent, because it comes from the contracts department who deal with all the editors that are buying books. So that takes about a month. The author signs it, we send it back to them, they sign it. It takes about another month for the contract to be signed and the money on signing sent to the agent. Then the contract says from date of acceptance of the manuscript, usually 24 months, because the editor will have edits.
Right.
So you get, if the way I've done it most of the time is half the money, the advance negotiated, half the money on signing, half the money on acceptance of the manuscript. That is time-wise give and take between the author and the editor about the changes the editor wants. But from acceptance, it can take 24 months to have a book published, because editors buy 2 years in advance. So if I were to sell your book today, it wouldn't be published until 2020, beginning of 2028.
Isn't that crazy? That's something I had no idea about when I first entered this
And
industry,
the thing
fresh-faced.
is, if they're really high on it and someone's slot falls through, it could be published earlier. But that's only if a slot opens up and they really, really want to put you in there instead of someone else that they're really high on. But yeah, it can take over 2 years.
So I guess that means you have to have a lot of different, for you to make it viable, you have to have a lot of different projects on the go.
Yeah, the more projects an agent has to throw out there, the better chance of something to stick. And actually, it's funny, I had one author where I had like 9 projects out. They all came in with yes on the same day.
That's crazy.
It was crazy, but luckily he was a full-time writer and he worked fast, and I was able to stagger the delivery dates so they weren't all at the same time. I was able to do one at 4 months because it was mostly done, one at 7 months, one at a year, one at year and a half. I was able to stagger them, but yeah, I couldn't believe that. Well, I will say 6 of the 9 was a one book that I went to lunch with the author and the editor, and over lunch we turned it into 3. And then walking back to the office, she and I were talking while he was just mind spinning that it went from 1 to 3. She and I came up with storylines for another 3. So that was 6 books in from one.
Was that
But
your Western writer? Who was that?
no, that was a science fiction writer. That
Oh,
was a science fiction writer. I've done Westerns where I've sent a proposal and the editor's got in touch with me and say, yeah, can he turn this into a series? I want 3 books.
right.
That happened. It doesn't happen now. This was back in the 80s, early 90s, maybe. This kind of thing does not happen now. Editors buy when you I always try and sell a series. If I've got a series, I'll submit the complete first book, synopsis of the second and third. But 9 times out of 10, the editor will buy the first one and they have to wait and see how that does before they want to buy more.
Oh,
So it
interesting.
doesn't happen like it used to. Publishing has changed so much since I started. I used to be able to submit and sell on 3 chapters in an outline. I can't do that anymore, especially with new authors. New authors, I have to have the complete manuscript, or even a well published author who is going to a new house. I have to have the complete manuscript. Editors are saying, I want to see a complete manuscript. Now, after they've published an author and they're seeing that the books are doing well, then I can go back with more books from that same author to the same editor with a proposal of a synopsis and 3 chapters. But it has to be already, they know how he works, it's in the works, and it's a lot easier. But new authors today, oh no, you have to have the best possible project you can have and show that you're not a one-trick pony. If it's a series, show that it can be a series, or let me know, let the agent know that you're working on another standalone or a series, so that the editor can say, agent can say in their query letter, hey, this is a standalone, but he is working on another standalone or a series or something. Show the editor that it's not a one-trick pony.
Isn't that interesting? Well, this is maybe something I better work towards, even though I guess we do have our second novel in the works. So,
Which I haven't seen yet.
well, you saw the first,
I
think,
saw,
of the,
I saw a rough
and,
first draft. Yes, I
and,
did.
and you
Yes, I
said,
did.
I don't like this at all. So now I'm reworking it.
Yeah, no, it's got to stand out. When I first started, I used to be able to submit to 50 different editors at 50 different houses. Now there's basically 4 or 5 major houses and a few big independents, which I call New York level, you know. But a very few. There's maybe 10 publishing houses now.
Yes, it's become
There are
very difficult.
imprints, and I have to be careful because imprints of one house, like you've got Penguin Random House, right? It's Penguin, Berkeley, Ace, um, Doubleday, Bantam, no, yeah, Bantam belongs to the random part. You've got Random, Dell. There's so many clumped together. Some of them actually work to, even though they're separate imprints, work together. So if I send to, say, Berkeley Ace, Bantam Del Rey is in the meeting, and if they say no, the other one says no. We've already said no. They may not, but that's the norm. So you have to be very, very. Once I send to one editor in a house, I can't send to someone else.
Oh, that's so
I always
difficult.
ask. I always ask, because if you don't ask, you won't get.
Right?
That's one of my mantras. I have two mantras. Don't ask, you won't get. So I always ask when they tell me how much they like it. But if they tell me how much they like it, but the committee says no, I'll say, okay, then that's it. But if they say it wasn't for them because they don't particularly like this kind of thing, I'll always write back and say, hey, is there another editor you think that it might work for? I'll always ask.
Right. That makes perfect sense. So how many authors do you have on a go at a time? Like how many are you repping?
Around 45, I guess. This
Wow.
is this is the whole agency, but I did a graph once and I've got three columns. The first column is ones that I'm constantly selling for. So it's like, okay, you get to the end of a contract or they're halfway through the last book in a contract. I'll get in touch with the editor and say, okay, he's halfway through the contract. Do you want more? So there's no real work except when reading the manuscript. Then there are the ones that I have that I send out, it's rejected, send it out again, rejected, send it out again. And the third column is the new people where I have to spend time reading. If I take them on, go over the manuscript with them, like I did with you, get back, read it again. And if I still like it and I take it on, it goes into that middle column. So there are my three columns, so I can juggle 45 people.
Oh, wow. That's fascinating.
But
All
that's the
right.
way I work. I found out I work so differently from a lot of people.
Oh, that's interesting.
But
Okay.
I'm a dinosaur. I work the old way. I have to read paper. And if
I
someone
had to
wants to
mail
see
in my
it,
manuscript.
yep. Yeah, if someone wants me to read a manuscript, they have to print it out and send it to me snail mail because I write all over a manuscript. I'm not going to show you one, but I
I've
write all
seen
over
it.
the manuscript and then I get in touch with the author and either we go over it over the phone or if it's not too bad, I'll do tracking, but I hate tracking. I like doing it over the phone so there's immediate give and take.
Well, I
I
find too
don't
when
know
yeah.
any agent that does that.
No, it was pretty intense and amazing. But then it's funny because you speak to me, I now have your voice in my head. Like for example, in my very first manuscript, my main character was too weak. She wasn't a strong
Oh, yes, she
female.
was.
And I know that you want a strong, resilient.
Everyone wants strong, effective, stand on your feet women. They don't want wet noodles.
No wet noodles. And I had a wet noodle. I mean, I was
You
trying to show
did.
character arc growth, but no. So I had her go from strong to stronger, not weak to
Yeah,
strong.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So
She
I'm
had to
keeping that
see
in
the
my
faults of
mind.
her. She had to see the faults of her boyfriend so that she can move on and say,
Exactly.
"Hey, no, I'm not dealing with this bullshit."
Right. I had my character crying a bit and being upset, and Cherry's like, nope, he was a dick. She moves on. With
Crying a
strength.
lot, actually, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it's good. I'm so appreciate that you took the time to work with me. Um, but now I've got your voice in my head, so you're going to find that my next character is far stronger. And like
Good.
I said, I'm working with the great, amazing Bruce McAllister, and he's really helping me make her come alive so she's more likable for you because I know I had too many
You have to
characters.
like the main characters. If you cannot associate or like the main characters, you're dead in the water with everybody, with everybody. The
Right.
reader, the editor, we have to want to turn that second page.
Right. So, yeah, it's been such a wonderful learning experience, but it's hard for even with somebody giving you guidance. I think the world for new authors out there in publishing right now is incredibly difficult.
It's incredible, and what makes it even more difficult, of course, is the fact that everyone self-publishes, so that you've got a lot of stuff out there that desperately should be edited and isn't.
Yes, that I mean that's a hard there is quality self-publishing out there, but a lot of it, right? It's so hard to trust a new self-published author because you're like, well, at least when you get traditionally published books, you know it's been through gatekeepers and you know that an editor's looked at it and you
The
know
gate,
there's going to be
the
quality.
gatekeeper, the first gatekeeper is the agent. The second gatekeeper is the editor, who not only, well, the editor might give it to a line editor and then a copy editor for grammar and spelling, and then she'll look at it again. So there are many, many gatekeepers.
Right. And then, I mean, some self-published, right? Some indie authors are phenomenal, but I mean, you just have to know what path. So, I mean, I heard if you, I think the problem is also discoverability, at least if you have traditionally published books out there, you have the HarperCollins name behind you or the Harlequin name behind you, and then it's easier to find a new audience, right?
Yeah, if they've picked up your books from there. But yes, and there has to be. Today, one of the first questions an editor asks me is, what's their platform? What's their social media? How active are they on social media? You've got to have a following, because if you don't have a following, then who the hell is going to know to read your book? At least you start off with, the editor knows that you've got a following. You start off with a readership.
Right. And that's a hard part. Well, I think that's why we originally had like a pseudonym on my novel that I'm like, well, that makes no sense because that pseudonym has no following. And I mean, I have this little follow. I have a medium-sized following, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely
Well,
not a big one, but
because you were known in a different genre, sometimes it makes sense to use a pseudonym. There are times where it does make sense if you are known really big time in a certain genre and you write in a different genre. Your fans will get pissed off,
right.
excuse my language, because no, you're not writing what they know. And B, why aren't you writing what they want? you
Right.
know so there's that. The other reason, but you need to build a following in that genre. The other thing is that you need a pseudonym if your sales are mediocre,
Oh,
because it used to be, when I first started, nobody could see anybody else's sales. Now every editor looks at sales from previous books from authors. I was just talking to an author yesterday. He was a USA best-selling author, back a few years. His agent, who is retiring, so he's coming to me, started submitting. They were pretty high on the book. Keyword pretty high. Not high enough, because they looked at his sales figures and said, no, recently you haven't been doing well. We're not interested.
oh, it's so tough.
So it's when you've got mediocre sales, it's better to start to go in with a new book, even in the same genre, new pseudonym, and say, hey, this is a new author. Let's start from scratch. New authors are still wanted if the product is not put downable.
Right. Right. Okay. Right.
You know, if the story is, you can't put it down, you have to read. I mean, my criteria is, I've got two criterias for accepting a novel, manuscript. I have to feel like I'm not reading. I have to feel like I'm there. I have to feel like I'm one of the characters, definitely not the main character. I don't like being the main character. I like staying in the background, kind of, although, looking at me, you'd say, no, she doesn't stay in the background. I try. I want to be able to put my 2 cents into a conversation. And then I've got to realize, no, I can't, because I'm reading. It's got to be that kind of reaction. If I put it down, and it takes me too long to get back to it, and I start again and I put it down, it's a no. It's got to keep me wanting to turn the page. In the beginning, when I started, I had young kids and a husband, who I've still got the husband, but no more young kids. um, it was like, Mommy, when are you making dinner? Go ask your father to give you pizza or something. I've got to finish this. Or, hey, you're going to let the dog out. What's the matter with you? Have you got a broken leg? You let the damn dog out. I want to finish this.
Right.
My reaction
Right.
has to be, leave me the heck alone. I want to finish this manuscript. That's the feeling I've got to have. And if I don't have that,
And nobody
I'm not
else
going to
will.
take it on. No, I'm not saying nobody else will.
Oh, I meant like,
I'm
yeah,
not going to take it
harder.
on because this is such a subjective business. It is totally subjective. It's how you look at it, how you read it, your emotional connection to it. I mean, I've had books that I've said no to where they've gone to another agent and they've sold without a problem, but it didn't connect with me. I have to be able to connect with it.
Was there ever a book that you wish hadn't gotten away?
One or two. I mean, there's always something. One or two, yeah. I mean, there was one author that I said no to very early on, and well, he blew up the book list type of thing. But now it's karma. What goes around comes around, because now he's persona non grata. he
Okay.
did he did a few things where he became persona non grata. So I'm glad.
Right. In the end. Okay, that
In the
makes
end, I'm glad. But yes, for quite a while, I was very upset that I said no.
sense. So, so what are you seeing happening in the industry today? I know you were talking to me a little bit about how it's a little tougher because,
It's a lot tougher. It's a lot tougher because of the number of books that are being published, the number of editors that there are that have combined. Um,
you were telling me about how they're going with, like, for example, they're republishing old Stephen King
yeah,
books, or they're
well, movies are doing the same thing,
it's true.
and TV is rebooting also. They're going what's tried and true, and they will take some of their biggest names or name authors and put new covers on them, maybe retitle them. I had one of my girlfriends called me up one day and said, "Hey, I'm reading a book that I read like 2 years ago. What's going on?" And I said, "Look at the copyright page. That
Right,
will tell
right,
you when it's first published and if it's a reprint with a new title or a new cover, same title, new cover. You may not remember the title, that kind of thing. But they're going with what they know will make money. Their publishers' bottom line is make the money. And editors have to be very careful, because if they buy too many books that don't make the money, they're out. They're
right.
out of a job. If you look at anything in if you get Publishers Weekly and see who's gone, or if you send I send an email to someone, oh no, she's gone. What do you mean she's gone? Did she go to another publisher? Sometimes they can get other publishers or whatever, but there is so much movement in the publishing industry with editors that it's hard to keep track.
Right.
I don't know if an editor leaves unless I get back, uh, I'm gone or undeliverable. So if it's undeliverable, I have to write someone else I know and say, "Hey, did she leave or did I get the email wrong?" you
Right.
know,
Right.
and it's no. I did just recently with an editor. I wrote her and about royalty statements, and oh no, she's gone. Okay, who do I get in touch with to get this thing straightened out?
Right.
But
So out of curiosity, so we put my book out middle of February, right? Because it was a cowboy
last year,
romance. We
yeah,
did it around Valentine's Day. Um, so we're coming up on a year now.
not uncommon.
So out of curiosity, like how long do you
I
champion a
go
book?
until I lose faith in the author.
Oh, okay.
I'll keep going until I lose faith in the author. or I've tried every avenue possible and the author hasn't given me anything else.
Okay, right.
If the author's given me other works, then I'll work on those and I'll say, let's pull this for a while. Let's see if the atmosphere changes, you know.
Okay,
There
that gives
was
me
one
some hope.
author I had, there was one author I had where I was selling her romances, well, trying to sell her romances, and I couldn't sell them. There was just something wrong. And I emailed her and I said, you know what? I don't think you like romance. I think you wrote this because romance is easy, it's hot, it sells. And she said, you're right. And I said, then this is why it's not working. It was an okay romance, you know, and I thought I could sell it, but now the editors saw past that, you know. And so I said, what do you like reading? And she said, mysteries. And I said, okay, write a damn mystery. So she wrote the first mystery in a series and I submitted it and I waited and waited and waited. And she asked, what do I do? I said, write the second one, just in case. A year, what was it? 6 years after I'd started trying to sell her first romance. I sold, the editor called me on a Monday morning. This was pre-computers, so they would actually call and talk to you. Um, Called me and said, hey, I really, really want, you made my weekend. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I took home 14 manuscripts to read over the weekend. Yours is the only one that I wanted, the only one out of 14. And it was the last one he read. So he said, is she doing? I said, I just got the second one on my desk. And he said, send it to me now. And I said, if I send it to you now, are you going to read it tomorrow? And he said, no. And I said, then I'm reading it first and then I'll send it to you. Because nothing passes my desk without me reading it. Nothing. I do not send anything to an editor without me double checking and reading. And he bought the second one. He bought a third one. He got in touch with me and said, I want her to do a different series so that I've got one series in the summer list, one series in the fall list, and one series in the spring list.
Wow, and these are her mysteries.
These were mysteries.
And what did she ever get the romance published or no?
Nope, never got the romance published.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Well, that makes me feel better because I was starting to feel stressed that nothing had happened yet. And I'm like, when do we quit? And there's no
That's
quit.
the problem with authors. They really, really, it has to be now. It has to be now. They do the same thing when they meet an agent. They don't consider the personal back and forth, whether you can work together or not. They'll talk to an agent, oh, I have to have her, I have to have her. If the dynamics aren't there, then it's the wrong agent. There are so many agents out there. There are so many people out there. You've got to be able to connect. I make it an issue when an author gets in touch with me and they've sent me a blurb about their work and I'm interested. I make an issue of arranging a phone call to talk to them before I see word one to make sure that there's a connection. Because to me, and I've had agents go, to me, an agent author relationship is like a marriage. You're giving me your children to throw out into that big, bad world. So there has to be trust, there has to be communication. And I tell my female authors, you better tell your husband you've got another wife, that he's got another wife. Business wife, but still another wife. I tell the husbands, you better tell your wife you've got another wife. Business wife, but still a wife.
Right. Yeah, it makes
Because to
sense.
me, this is a marriage. You are giving me your children, your life's blood, so to speak, to throw out into that big bad world.
And you demand complete honesty. This is one thing I remember
Oh,
at Superstars. You're like, you must be upfront and honest with me, which I always have because as you know, I'm a bit of a supernova, right? I'm always going in
yeah.
interactions.
No, I have to know.
Yep.
People
So
have
I
gotten
tell
in
you, I
touch
tell you what
with
I'm
me.
doing.
Yeah. People have got in touch with me and said, read my novel. Well, that started when I got a novel that I really liked. It took me a while to read it because, 4 to 6 weeks is hopefully my average. Sometimes I go 6 to 8 weeks, and very occasionally 12 weeks. But it depends on my schedule. But I had one author, I read the manuscript, I really liked it. I invested in a phone call to them. We talked for over an hour about stuff in the manuscript that could be made better, whatever, whatever. At the end of the conversation, the author said to me, "Well, thank you for your input. I signed with an agent yesterday."
That's horrible.
Now, first of all, they didn't tell me in their query letter they were querying other agents, which I like to know. And secondly, they waited a full hour to get all my feedback before they told me they signed.
That's despicable. Yeah, that's not good at all.
So yeah, no, I want, if you're sending it out to another other agents, I want to know that. Don't hide it. When I do multiple submissions to editors, I tell them I am sending this out to X number of editors. I will let you know if I hear from anyone before I hear from you.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
It's transparency
Yep,
and
which
it's
is big on.
honesty.
It
You
makes lots
don't
of
tell me
sense.
the truth. um I had, there's been so many incidents that I've had to deal with like that, no, if you're not going to be honest with me, screw it. I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you have to like it's interesting. So
And
my second novel with Cherry read it and was like, I love how you're like this. There's so many characters. I don't know what's going on. And where's the inciting incident? And of course, you were completely right. And now I'm rewriting it and I've like cut the characters down in half. The inciting incident has been moved way up. And I hire Bruce McAllister to help me. I'm like, help me figure out what Cherry wants. And he's amazing, right? Because I think he's been around as long as you have in the industry. So then he's helped me see you're good. I think you're going to be happy because with the first one, I couldn't figure out how to make Emma likable for you. And I was battling it. And then I talked to Bruce and he helped me. And I think he's doing the same here. So I think you're going to be happy with revision number 2. So it's
okay,
coming.
has to wait and see. It all depends on the writing. No matter how much I like you as a person, when I talk to authors, I have said no to authors that I've really, really liked because I've not connected with the writing. I have to connect. That has to come first. Liking a person is important, but because I am representing your work into the world, I have to connect with the work. That has to come first. The likability and connection and trust and communication comes second. And then more product comes third. Well, actually,
Right.
more product should come second, and then the likable and everything comes third.
Right. Well, I know it's
Because if I don't
definitely
have product, I can't sell.
that makes so much sense. But the one thing I want everybody to know is you cannot query Cherry directly because she gets overwhelmed. You have to meet to pitch to Cherry, you have to meet her at a conference
Meet
or
her at a conference or have someone who knows her recommend.
okay,
Like if you've got someone that you really, really read and like and are high on, you can get in touch with me and say, "Hey, I've got this author."
okay.
It's like an agent friend of mine that's retiring. He texted me, and which I don't like doing. But he texted me and said, "Hey, I'm retiring. I've got this author that I think might work for you. Do you want me to get in touch? Do you want him to get in?" He and the agent and I texted back and forth a little bit, messengered actually. So I got a little bit more history, and I said, "Yes, have him get in touch with me." He emailed me. I did a phone call, but it's because he came recommended by
Right.
someone who knows me, who knows the way I work. This was an agent who used to be an editor that I sold many books to over the years when he was still an editor. So, it has to come from someone I know. I mean, I got, and I wrote this back saying, conference or someone I know to a query letter. And I got back my letter with big lines across it saying, your conceit knows no bounds, because someone recommended me that I don't know. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't know this person. How come they're recommending? I don't know them. I have to know a person. They have to know me. Don't throw my name out there.
Fair enough. Of course.
And basically I've had people get in touch. Okay, your author so and so said that I should get in touch with you about my work. All right, I called so and so, or I emailed so and said, hey, did you recommend that this guy get in touch with me? He said, no, I was just talking about you and said your name. So he went in, found my email and said so and so said. No, I if someone says so and so said, I will get in touch with so and double check. Don't be dishonest about it.
Absolutely. So, Cherry, people can
That's
find
the
you.
honesty thing.
Absolutely. That's where our values are the same. So people can find you. You're going to Superstars.
I am going to Superstars I will be there the afternoon of Tuesday, February 3rd, and I am leaving the morning of Sunday, the 8th. And one other workshop I'm doing is Imaginarium, which is in Kentucky on July 16 to 19 or 20. I'm not sure if I'm staying over till Monday, but I'm definitely doing those two this year. So if they want to go to the conventions and find me, all they have to do is do that. And then when they come up to me, they say, hey, I saw your podcast, and I'll know what they're talking about.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you very much for your time. It's been wonderful to chat with you.
When you talk to an agent or an editor, put your best foot forward, be natural. Don't read your pitch, be natural. And also, best scenario is have a complete manuscript.